In this video, we're going to go over the effectiveness template example. So for this, you want to have 3 demographics: age, gender, and then one other demographic. In the example I gave, we're going to analyze with weight. So what you want to do is choose 3 treatments that you want to analyze. It could be physical therapy, a change in diet, a change in exercise, sleeping habits, different medicines, specific types of food. Basically anything you could find correlations on when you're researching. So for physical therapy, I put the chance of the effectiveness percent. So for example, for physical therapy, ages 0 to 4, it was a 55% chance that would be successful. And then once you find those numbers, you'll take the average and the medians, and you'll do that for all 3 treatments. In this case, physical therapy, diet, and sleeping habits. Once you do it for age, you can also do it for male versus female. So, for example, this one, physical therapy, males are more likely to benefit from that. Change of diets, females more likely, and then sleep habits, they're equally likely. And then for weight, you'll find these numbers. Now, these numbers I put number for regression, those numbers aren't going to really change. That's just going to be the X values that you use for your regression models. It's basically like a midpoint of each of the categories. Now, if effectiveness is not what you're looking for and you think that would be easier to find maybe like side effects, you could do that instead. So like instead of physical therapy, how often is that successful? Maybe how often is it that while they're doing physical therapy, they might get re-injured or more injured from doing the therapy itself? Or if you're analyzing some medicine, what is the chance of having a certain side effect? And you could put that percentage in there instead. So to find your linear regression, you'll click on the box right here. And you're going to type in Linus. C2 to C8. So that's our Y value. So C2, so from right here and then to right here, C8. And then we put comma, the X values, B2 to B8. And those numbers should stay the same for everyone. The Y values is what's going to be different for each group. Once you press enter, it'll give you the slope and the y-intercept of that line of best fit. To find the correlation coefficient, click on the box, type it equals Correl, and then select the same data as before, the y value range and the x value range. And then you will repeat the same thing for the other 2 treatments, except for now you'll select this for your y instead of this one. You're going to still select the same x data. On the next row, it says linear regression for weight effectiveness. So this time, you'll use the same y's you did before. Well, you'll use different y's and different x's. You're going to use not these up here, but the ones down here where it has weight under 100, over 350, all that kind of stuff. It'll calculate those numbers. Again, you don't have to use weight. You can use a different demographic if it interests you more. The reason why I put age and gender is because those are identified in the case studies you're given. Okay, once you get each of those, you'll identify your case study's age, your case study's gender, and if they don't give you the weight or the other demographic that you're measuring, you could create your own for this one. So we have percent probability of physical therapy will be effective from age. So to get this one, we're going to use our linear regression equation and then plug in the age right there, 61. And then we get our percentage, about 54% success. And then we'll do the probability for diet, plug in the linear regression for the diet equation, and then plug in 61. Record that. And then we'll do the same thing for sleep habits. Now notice based on age, the highest one is going to be the sleeping habits. That's 77.6% approximately. So that's the best treatment based on age. And then best option based on gender would be it would be change in diet. So from there you'll calculate the same stuff, except for now you're going to use the weight and the weight formulas. So the weight was identified as 260 pounds. So we'll use the weight regression formulas and plug in 260 for X values. The diet change looks like it'll be the highest for this one. That's the 72.1%. Now, best overall treatment option, you could say either diet or sleep habits. So let's say diet change, because it's covered on two different demographics. Or you could say sleep habits, because it had the overall highest number. And if you look at the strongest correlation coefficient, we have 0.63, 0.12. The sleep habits one actually has the highest, is associated with the weight. So you could also include that in the argument. So it had strongest correlation coefficient. Both of those reasonings would be acceptable. Although I would say that the sleeping habits in this case would be a little stronger, since it both had the highest number and it was a strong correlation. But you could put either or both, it would be up to you. When you're looking up your data, you find something, make sure to also cite that on your sources page. And then you'll formally cite them later at the end of your presentations. Once you have completed all of those things, you will also make a graph. So the graph will be right here. You're going to double click it. And then make sure the chart type is a scatter chart. And for your x-axis, you want to do the age. And we're only making a graph for the age, not for gender or the other demographic. So we'll choose these for our X values. And to do that, we just click on where it says right here, if you want to change the data range, here's our data range. Now notice we have from B1 to B8, the first box is just for the label. I'm going to just say age. And then for the series, you're going to click 3 of them, 1 for each of your treatments. So you just add series and then choose that. So when you do that, make sure you select the correct data range for all 3 of them, and then click this box that says use row 2 as headers and use column B as labels. So you want to customize it from here, so you'll go to chart and axis titles. To change the chart title, you'll go right here and change it. So are you going to do the effectiveness of treatment for whatever your diagnosis is? And then, or you could say something about side effects too if you're doing that instead. You can also change the horizontal axis title and the vertical axis title. Once you've finished editing those, you go to series, and we'll go apply to all series, click trend line, and then you want it to be a linear regression. Now if you wanted to use the equation, you could press use equation. If you want the determination coefficient to show, put show R squared. And if you want to edit each one separately, maybe you want to like change a color or something, you could do that by clicking these. You'll go ahead and go to the student work tab, find these, share it with your partners onto the Google Drive after making a copy. And let's go ahead and go over the rubric. So for the data collection, the data is collected for 3 treatments effectiveness for age group, gender, and either weight group or some other demographic. You could also do the side effects percent of having a specific side effect. For predictions, the best treatment options based on the age is identified. The best treatment options overall is identified with the strongest correlation coefficient. For calculations, the linear regressions, correlation coefficient, averages, medians, and graphs are calculated on the Google Sheet page. And then for explanations on your presentation, the graph is included that you made. The link to your Google Sheet is included. And the best treatment options for your patient are identified based on age, gender, and then the other demographic that you did. And then the strongest correlation coefficient is identified, and the sources are cited at the end of your presentation. I look forward to seeing your results on this.